Are you sick and tired of screwing up your kiteboard launches, struggling with this super important part of learning kiteboarding? Or maybe you've got it down, but you're just tired of it, people around you screwing it up all the time, hot launching or getting their kite, too far up in the wind and then popping it up. Well, if that sounds familiar, then this video is for you. Hi everybody, I'm Laurel Eastman. I'm a kiteboarding expert. I'm the owner of the Laurel Eastman Kiteboarding School in Cabarete, Dominican Republic, and I've dedicated my entire professional life to helping people just like you be awesome kiteboarders, feel safer, and have more fun with their kiteboarding. So today's video is all about launching safely. This is a super important part of having a successful kiteboarding, and I'm gonna share with you my specific top 4 tips of steps that you can do and actions that you can take that will make you have a confident and safe kiteboarding launch every single time. So it's gonna be awesome. Now, before we dig into the teaching content of today's Facebook Live video, I just want to give you a special bonus right here in the beginning. For all those of you who are with me from the beginning, I want to just give you a chance to enter in to win a really cool prize. Here it is. It's a cute bag from the Upcycled by Mariposa, and it's perfect for back to school. You can put pencils in there, or your fins for your kiteboard if you're traveling, or your makeup, or whatever it is you want to put in there. All you have to do is go to laureleastman.com/awesome, and I'm using that page right now to collect stories about people's kiteboarding experiences and asking people from our community to share their experiences. But because you're here with me and watching this video, if you don't want to share your story, but you want to be in to win this bag, you can skip down to the bottom and then you can have the chance to enter and win. So check that out. And right now, that's it. We're gonna dig right into the teaching content of today's Facebook Live video. I'm gonna be answering questions not only during the Facebook Live, but even after we turn off the live broadcast, this video will be here, and I'll be checking back into hear your comments. So please let me know what you think, and let's dig right in. The number 1 tip for you to be safe when you are launching your kite, and really this is the key to getting an entirely safe kiteboarding session happening, right? The launch is critical. So the number 1 thing you need to do is to be prepared. Okay, so this begins way before you even get to the beach, all right? This happens when you're in your house or in your office getting ready to go to the beach. So what do I mean by be prepared? Well, you want to be the kind of person that makes your parents proud. What do I mean by that? Okay, so when you were a kid, your parents are always telling you, did you eat? Did you drink? Did you go pee? Did you put your sunscreen on? Well, turns out they were right. Those are important things. So when you're getting ready to go to the beach and go kiteboarding, make sure you have enough food in your system. Make sure that you've drank water, that you're not totally dehydrated. Make sure that you put on your sunscreen so that it's not just gonna be slippery right when you go put it on right before you launch, and then your hands are on the bar and you're kind of nervous anyway. Go pee before you leave. Anything that you can do so that when you show up to the beach that you are calm and ready is going to be a huge benefit. So your parents were right, people. You got to be prepared. Now, the second key to being prepared is not only your body, but it's your equipment. Okay, so you've got to make sure that your kite gear is set and dialed. Now, what does that mean? You want to make sure that you know which kites you have, that your kites are in the right bag, that the bag is labeled, so that you can open up your car or your truck or whatever and see, like, I have my 10 meter, I have my 14 meter. You're not going to grab the wrong one and start pumping it up and say, oh, I thought this was the 10, but it's really the 14. Oh, well, I'll just go out anyway, and then you're totally overpowered, and that puts you into a dangerous situation. So really, you want to have your kites organized. You want to make sure that they're in really good condition. You also want to make sure that your board and your harness are well maintained, and that all the screws are tightened on your board is super important as well. So yeah, those are the kind of really important things. maybe you want to also make sure that you have your own pump. I know this seems like a small detail, but like just knowing that you have your gear organized will give you confidence. You know, you don't want to be going to the beach thinking, oh man, am I going to be able to get a pump? You know, is someone going to give me their pump? No, you want to have your gear together. So I want to hear from you all who are watching, and thank you to everyone who's joining us live today, joining me live today. And even if you're not live, watching afterwards, just leave a comment. Do you have any tips or tricks of preparing for your kiteboarding session, like that you do even before you go to the beach? Or maybe there's a trap that you fall into, something that you can say, oh yeah, Laurel's saying, you know, that you should drink water, but I never remember to do that. Share it with me right now. Just put a comment in there and let me know if you've got a good hack for this, or if there's something that you're like, oh, I really need to work on that. This is the place to talk about it, people. We got to get prepared so we can get out there and have some kiteboarding fun. So that's the number one tip, is be prepared before you get to the beach. Now, the number two most important thing that you can do every single time that you go to the beach and you go kiteboarding and have a safe launch is a scene survey. So the first two tips are not even about touching your gear, right? This is not even about getting out there and flying the kite and getting it right. We're gonna get to that. So the scene survey is super important, and we learn about this as wilderness first responders. And if you ever do adventure travel, I really recommend taking the wilderness first responder course. They teach you how to help people if you're away from a hospital, or maybe you're in the developing world, or out on an adventure, out on an island somewhere on a boat. So in the Woofer course, what they teach you is that the first thing you do when you come across an accident, or you see someone who's collapsed, maybe they had a medical or whatever, is a scene survey. And for accidents or things like that, you look at what caused the accident, is what happened here, and then what hazards are still existing around this accident scene. And then the last thing you look for is the numbers. So how many victims are there? How many rescuers are there? Now, you can apply almost those same things to the scene survey that will be the key for your safe kiteboard launching. So in accidents, it's what caused it. In kiteboarding, what causes kiteboarding? Come on, people, what causes kiteboarding? Give me a comment. It's the wind. So without the wind, and I know, we're not going kiteboarding. So the first thing you do when you get to the beach in order to have a safe launch is you stop and survey the wind. Most important. Direction. What direction is the wind blowing? You want it to be blowing side onshore, okay? If it's onshore, that's no bueno. If it's offshore, that's pretty much a deal breaker. I mean, you can go if you have a boat, but what if your boat breaks down? It could happen. I'm just saying. Okay, so wind direction, and then the wind speed. So you want to know, how strong is the wind? You can stand there and feel it, and you can be like, whoa, it's windy. There's sand hitting me, on my legs. Or you can be like, I don't even think my 17-meter Zephyr is going to fly right now. So just stop to observe the wind speed. You can pull out your wind meter. You can talk to other kiters and say, hey, or check your app, whatever it is. You want to also think about, is the wind gusty? So just pay attention. Is it steady or gusty? And of course, if there's clouds. So 4 things to think about when you're doing your scene survey for kiteboarding, having a safe launch. Number 1 is check the wind. Okay, then the same as goes from wilderness first responder is you want to look for hazards. Okay, so in kiteboarding, the hazards are normally pretty obvious. You have the trees or buildings that are nearby the launch. Maybe there's like big rocks or slippery rocks or sharp rocks or shells that are on the beach. There could be like a downed tree that's in the launch area, a tree floating in the water, boats floating in the water, a jetty in the water, a migrating flock of birds, children, grandmothers, dogs, dog walkers. I mean, anything. There's probably some hazards around. Just note those hazards and plan to how you're going to avoid them, because avoiding hazards is really key to having a safe launch. And also look downwind and just see what hazards are downwind of you. So now it's time to do the last one, which is, again, the same as when you're a wilderness first responder, is you want to think about the numbers. So that's numbers of people. Who's around? In kiteboarding, we have not like victims and rescuers, but we have kiters that are actively kiting, and then kiters that are gearing up or have just come in from their session, and then we have like bystanders. So you want to see who is around, how many people are around, what are they doing, and start to identify who's going to be the right person to help you launch and probably to help you land as well. So, just manage these sorts of things. If it's a big crowd and you're on a crowded beach, that's going to definitely make it a little bit more stressful. Also, if you're by yourself and there's nobody around, that's totally stressful. At that point, you need to go get yourself a kite buddy, because I do not recommend kite surfing by yourself. That's just not that safe and pretty sad. So get kite buddies. So I want to hear from you guys. If you're watching live, chime in and let me know, like, what's the sketchiest place that you've ever launched your kite, or what's the sketchiest kite launch you've ever encountered? I was thinking about that question myself, and recently we were up in Canada, Vancouver Island, and if you've ever been to the Spit at Squamish, I think you can agree that that is kind of a sketchy launch. It's up on this rock jetty with these big boulders that you have to navigate down. It's really narrow, and it's near to Vancouver City, so there's like a lot of people that want to go, and so it's kind of nerve-wracking to launch there. So that would definitely be my most recent sketchy launch. But I'd love to hear from you guys. So just write a little comment in here and let me know, what is your sketchiest launch? Or do you only go on perfectly open, like Bahamian beaches? Because those are ideal also. Okay, let's keep going. And I'm so stoked to share with you the third tip, because now we've been prepared. We've done our scene survey. We've decided it's time to go kiteboarding. Now it's time to rig. And when you rig, what you want to do is have tunnel vision and laser focus on what you're doing, because rigging is the time that, number one, you do not want to mess it up, because if you rig wrong, you can really screw up your launch and get hurt. And number two, you don't really want to dilly-dally if you're on a busy launch, because you're going to get in people's way, or if it's a busy beach, with bystanders, you don't want to be in people's way. So when you are rigging, you want to shift from like saying hi to your friends, or, doing whatever else, to focus and rig. So what do you do? One little tip is, if you do have music, that's a perfect way to do it. Just put your earbuds in and listen to the music. You're going to minimize your chat, and you're going to go into your zone of like, I'm a pilot of this kite, and this is my pre-flight checklist. And I'm going to do this the same every single time, and I'm not going to screw it up, because I know that this is important. And then if you get in that rhythm and you always do it like the same, it really gives you a sense of calm and a sense of relaxing, because it's definitely nervous when you're launching your kite. And I think you guys can all agree with me for that one. So you want to get in the zone. So now you're in the zone, it's time to rig. Here is my exact sequence of how I rig my kite, and how I really recommend, and I implore you all to rig your kites. First thing you're going to do is you're going to pump up your kite. Okay, as soon as you pump up your kite, you park it, you put some sand on it or whatever. Now, the next thing you do, and this is something that most people don't do and a lot of people don't teach you. So the very next thing you do, it's not run your lines, it's get ready. So if you're wearing a wetsuit, you put your wetsuit on. You're for sure wearing a harness, so you put your harness on. You put your helmet on, you put your vest on, you get everything on, so that then you store your pump away from the launch area, so it's not getting in everybody's way and catching in people's lines and flying through the beach. So you pump your kite, you gear up to go, and then you run your lines down. So, and then you are being more kind and responsible as a person sharing a beach. If you're by yourself on the beach, it doesn't really matter. If it's just you and your kite buddy, you can kind of, play with this. But if you're in a crowded launch, this is really the kind way to do it. So that you pump up, you suit up, you run your lines, you do your check downwind, you attach, and you launch. you really don't want to attach your lines and then go like do all that other stuff, like put your sunscreen on and drink your water, because once the lines are attached, your kite is kind of loaded, and that's a little bit dangerous. So really other important thing, and this is huge, people, so stop what you're doing, pay attention. You need to be rigging your bar and lines downwind of your kite, okay? So that means that when you park your kite, you go into the part that where you look and you see when the kite's flying, you put your lines there and you walk downwind of the kite, all right? Now this is so critical for safe launching. I just cannot emphasize it enough. If you put your lines downwind of your kite, you can see the bridles very clearly. Okay, if you're upwind of the kite, your bridles could be totally twisted. You're nervous, something's happening, gets snagged on something. You don't know because you can't see them visually with your eyeballs. So you need to be downwind so that you can look at it. And then the second reason is that you need to get the launch angle perfect. Okay, if you get the launch angle wrong and you do hot launches, and if you don't know what I'm talking about when I say hot launch, then I really recommend that you go to my YouTube channel for the Laurel Eastman Kiteboarding YouTube channel and you watch some of my video tutorials about launching a kite as a kiter and launching a kite as an assistant, because I kind of go into this and explain it. But hot launching is the pits, okay, people? It is dangerous for you. You can hurt the person that is trying to help you, and it just is a totally amateurish way to do it. It's going to make you nervous when you hot launch and you feel that power. You're not really wanting to feel it yet. I mean, you're kind of wanting to feel it, but not like that. Hot launching is the worst, and if you are upwind with your bar, you are like 25 times more likely, I just made that statistic up, but you're a lot more likely to hot launch your kite. So that's why the ICAO standard is to run your bar and lines downwind of your kite, not upwind from your kite. So I want to hear from you people. Do you run your lines and bar upwind, or do you run them downwind? And if you're running them upwind, I really want to know, like, why? Is it because, like me, you learned 15, 17 years ago when that's how we did it? And you're just like, okay, I'm going to run my lines upwind. Dean just joined. I'd love to hear from him in Cabarete. We're talking about safe launching here in Cabarete. It's a huge deal to have safe launches, and we're so lucky to have good friends like Dean to always help us launch our kites. But yeah, so are you rigging upwind or downwind? And if you're still rigging upwind, then why people? Don't do it. You got to stop. Or maybe you just are like, no, Laurel, you're totally wrong. Tell me in the comments section. I want to hear from you lovely people. Okay, the fourth thing that you're gonna do every single time when you go to launch your kite that will make you nail your launch and make it super, super perfect is to just do it and nail it. You gotta have a good helper, okay? Someone who you know will hold your kite into position and not let go of it until it's up in the air, it's flying, it's not flapping around, and you give the thumbs up. Okay, so find a good helper. And then I sort of talked about it there, but you need to have your kite. Okay, my piece of paper is the kite. From flapping to no flapping, okay? So you're downwind, you've got your bar. Now you walk into position. Your kite's like flapping around, flapping around, flapping around. This is not the time to be like trying to check your lines, okay? I see this all the time, and it just doesn't work, okay? You need to wait from the time that your kite is flapping until you've gotten into position, and your kite, that's like a kite there. Your kite, I don't know where my kite is. Your kite is solid, okay? If your kite is flapping, don't try to check your lines and do your final check. Get into position, then you check your lines. This will also really help you to make sure that you are not hot launching or knocking your friend over, even if they are big and strong, like my friend Dean in Cabarete, who launches me so many times, and I'm so grateful for that. And then once you launch it, once you're in position, everything's good, you give the thumbs up, you keep it low, and you go, okay? You don't bring your kite up to 12 where it can like fall out of the sky and yank you. No, you keep it low and you go. And then you're kiting, and it's awesome. It is the best. And so it's definitely a pain point for a lot of people. Everybody gets nervous when you're launching your kite. Let's just be clear about that. Even people like us who've launched so many times, like there's some fear inside. Like you're about to attach yourself to a powerful thing. So by really having this system down and following the steps that I've outlined here, you will be safer, you're gonna feel more confident, and you're gonna be savvier and cooler. So that'll be good. Now, probably there's something I've missed. So I'd love to hear from you guys. If there is something that I have totally forgotten to talk about in my safe launching video today, just tell me in the comments section. And yeah, on that same note, remember, if you were not here in the beginning of the video, this will be posted on Facebook as soon as I sign off from this live broadcast. You can go back to the beginning and hear about that free opportunity for you to win this awesome bag from Upcycled, where you could put your fins in there, or your repair kit, or your cell phone, or your sunscreen, or anything that you need to have a good kiteboarding session. So if you go back to the beginning of the video, you can see how you can be entered to win this awesome bag that I will send to you with so much love. And thank you. Speaking of love, thank you for being here and being part of this Facebook Live. Thanks for being part of the kiteboarding community and of course the LEK Cabarete community. I really appreciate you guys, and I totally look forward to seeing you again on the beach or here on Facebook. So have a great day, and here's to lots and lots of safe kiteboarding launches. Love you guys. Bye.